Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about anchoring and how using anchoring can help you to move yourself away from intrusive thoughts. And of course intrusive thoughts could also be called obsessive thoughts, and the technique here will also help you to shift away from any kind of negative repeating thought that you'd like to shift yourself away from. Okay, I'm Orla Kirby. I am a therapist and I specialise in helping people to move themselves away from severe anxiety and or OCD. So in this video I am first of all going to talk about what anchoring is, what that word means, and then I'm going to talk about a very kind of simple metaphorical anchoring that you could bring into your life in a beneficial way. And then I'm going to just give one example of a very simple, very simple physical. It's because I was mixing simple and physical. A very simple physical anchor, right? Where I'm going to link. Well, actually, this isn't the simplest, I suppose. I'm going to show you linking 3 emotional states to 1 physical touch, right? You could also do it with 1 emotional state. That would be even simpler. You could link 1 emotional state and 1 physical touch. I'm going to do it with 3 just to make it powerful in a different kind of way. But you can absolutely do it with simply 1. Yeah. Okay. So what is anchoring? Anchoring is basically linking one thing and another thing in your mind, right? It's as simple as that. And we do it all the time. Our whole mind is organised around anchoring. Language itself, in fact, is all anchoring, right? You're linking this thing and that thing, and all of our systems of thought. If you think about maths or the way that we understand computing, there's so much that would be impossible to think about unless we were linking one thing to another thing to another thing, right? So, a really simple example of how we use anchoring in day-to-day life might be, before I go to bed at night, I brush my teeth, right? So that means that I've anchored teeth brushing to going to bed, right? I've linked the 2 things in my mind so that I don't have to separately remember to brush my teeth. I've linked it, and it's quite a common cultural one. We have loads that are common cultural ones of these, but we might have our own individual ones too. I might decide I'm going to take my vitamin pill at lunchtime, and then I've anchored the taking of the vitamin pill to lunch, right? So we do that in loads and loads of different ways, some quite simple, some complex, and without consciously labelling it anchoring, right? Now, in various different schools of hypnosis, there are uses of this for benefiting mental health, right? And absolutely anchoring can be very powerful in moving away from intrusive thoughts, most definitely. So one example would be, because almost a lot of the time you could see intrusive thoughts in a way as negative anchors, right? You've set up linked to a certain memory or a certain invented memory or a certain thing or person, a certain sort of chain of thoughts, right? Or a particular thought that repeats. And in terms of how compulsions work too, right? There's a negative anchoring there. There's a particular association that then, repeats, right? And that's part of how that works. So because of that, because it's part of the structure of how those intrusive thoughts are functioning, absolutely we can get in there and program in some really helpful beneficial anchors that can be shifting things, right? Because they're working at the same level, at the same unconscious level. So a really simple example would be, I have a painting in my hallway of the ocean, right? A beautiful sea scene, and every time I look at that, I'm going to say to myself, something lovely, like my whole body is filled with a deep sense of peace, right? Or, I feel relaxation spreading gently through my whole body, right? A beautiful, gentle affirmation like that. Or whatever feels right for you. It might be more simple. You might just want to say peacefulness to yourself, or you might want a line from a poem There's a lovely line in a Yeats poem, which is, let me think, peace comes dropping slow, right? That would be a lovely thing to install in yourself. And the association with the picture, and I mean, you could pick anything, right? You could pick your front door, you could pick your car keys, right? It doesn't even have to be a beautiful thing, but of course it being a beautiful and a peaceful thing helps, right? Just association wise, but it doesn't have to be, right? It could just be something that you see a lot. But why this is helpful to anchor it to something is that I'm going to go past the picture anyway, right? If it's in my hallway, I'm going to go past it anyway, and it's going to remind me to connect with this idea and this way of being. And of course, I'm going to want to be doing this in a certain way, right? It's no good if I, run past the picture and shout at myself something about peace. Yeah. But it is at least a reminder, so not guaranteed, but it's a reminder to connect with a certain way of being and a certain way of approaching life, or a certain way of feeling and of thinking, right? Connected with calm and peacefulness. And of course, I could be deliberately entering hypnosis, right? In a way, it's simply a reminder to enter hypnosis, to enter a calm, relaxed state. I could also simply say to myself, hypnosis, right? I could have that picture in my hall, and every time I get past it, I just pause for like 3 seconds and I say, hypnosis. And I defocus my eyes and I go into a relaxed state. And if you'd like more information on how you can enter hypnosis, which is a kind of relaxed, very peaceful, relaxed and focused state, you could download my guide to hypnosis, which is at orlakirby.com/learn to meditate. It's a guide to learning meditation and self-hypnosis skills so that you can put yourself deliberately into a relaxed, focused state. And like I say, you could pick anything, right? You could decide that every time you look at a particular photograph you have somewhere, you're going to say hypnosis, or you're going to say joy, right? And think about something really happy, or put yourself into a state of joy using hypnosis. So these are just different little pathways or little corridors in your day into these different states, right? Okay, so that's just a very kind of simple, metaphorical, kind of personal anchor you could set up. And I'm sure you could think of loads of examples. Now, in terms of a physical anchor, I'm going to show you how to connect a touch. So I'm going to go with this touch here. So just like touching your collarbone and across kind of in the middle. So I'm not right at the end of my shoulder, look, and I'm not like on my neck, I'm kind of in between here, right? So that's a really useful touch. It already feels lovely. It's a lovely reassuring touch. I mean, some people are more kinesthetic than others, so you might do this and feel nothing. That's fine, that's not a problem. But for me, when I do this, it already feels lovely, right? So that's useful. So what we're going to do is connect that to a sense of, deep peacefulness or deep calm, and love and happiness, right? So, and you could choose any one of those, or you could pick something else entirely, right? You could have excitement somewhere, you could have motivation in a different place, and you can pick different places in your body and link different states to them. And I'm going to talk you through how you do this. So, and I might not show you all of them, but you can simply, you're kind of almost stacking them on top of each other, right? So if I was going to start with deep calm and peacefulness, I'm going to put myself into a relaxed state. I'm just thinking as I'm saying this that this might not be the best one to go for if you're experiencing a lot of intrusive thoughts, because it might be quite tricky to access a really deep state of calm. So I'm going to maybe swap this around and go with love first, right? I'm going to go with love and happiness, and then I might go with maybe more like, maybe I will go with excitement, right? Love, excitement, love, happiness, excitement, right? Yeah. So love, what you would do is you would think of a sense of, a memory of a time when you felt really a very strong sense of love, right? Could be with a friend, could be, for a family member, could be for someone you were in a relationship with or are still in a relationship with, and really summon up that sense of love, right? Put yourself into the memory, allow yourself to enjoy it, And again, this is going to be easier if you are kind of practicing hypnosis regularly and able to enter into states a bit more easily. So you could go to that guide again, the free guide, orlakirby.com/learn to meditate, and that's going to help with all of this kind of exercise. So you summon that memory, and as you start to feel it, right, as soon as you start to feel it, you put your hand here, right? And then you're enjoying feeling this feeling, feeling that sense of love, enjoying that memory. And as soon as you feel that start to wane, you take your hand away, right? And that's you've then anchored, right, that state there. So really, even if you just left that alone then and did nothing else, if you come back the next day and you put your hand here, leave it for a couple of seconds, you'll feel that feeling rising within you, right? Isn't that amazing? So you've anchored it to that touch. And then you can put other things on top of it, right? So I'm not going to kind of do that here now because it's just the same thing again. But you would quite simply do the same thing again. You want to break your state in between. So after you've done that, you do the one emotion and you're going to look out the window or stand up and turn around 3 times or, jump up and down or something. Break your state and then come back and do the same thing with whatever other 2 states you want to link together. So you could go for deep peacefulness and happiness. You could go for joy and excitement. Your other 2 could be like purpose and safety. It could, whatever's really going to be helpful for you. What do you want to be able to feel when you do this, right? And it's such a powerful, really powerful way to step into a particular emotional state. Now, how is this useful for shifting yourself away from intrusive thoughts? Well, because for most people, intrusive thoughts or obsessive thoughts are going to come along with a very intense feeling, right? It's not like you're just seeing the thought and, you're not bothered about the thought. You're having quite a strong, intense emotional response or quite a strong emotional kind of accompaniment to this thought, right? So if you can shift your state, in a way, you're not really experiencing the thought anymore, right? Even if the words of it are there or the idea of it is there somehow, if you shift that state, that's a certain shifting, right? That's a certain amount of moving away from, shifting things around, creating movement there, right? And, it depends on how long you've been experiencing intrusive thoughts for and what your overall level of stress or anxiety is generally and so on. But in some cases, and particularly if you've been doing a lot of other kinds of work, you may find that is enough to shift you away entirely, right? Or at least to shift you into a very different kind of state. Now, I would say that this is more likely to work well if you have quite an established meditation or relaxation process, and or if you're in like a therapy process that's going pretty well for you, right? So this is not the sort of thing I would do with someone like on a first session, right? That doesn't mean that it's dangerous to do, and if you want to try it right away, this isn't a problem to do, right? The only reasons really not to try these various hypnosis things are if you have bipolar or and the bipolar is not really well controlled, right? For everyone else, hypnosis is very safe. It's just that you might feel like, oh, nothing's happening, or this isn't really working for me, right? And if that's the case, that probably means that your stress levels are too high, or it's too difficult for you to relax into this because of your stress levels being too high, right? It's always going to be easier to step deliberately into a particular state the more relaxed we're feeling. So that's okay, but that doesn't mean it's not going to work for you, right? And different people will find this different amounts easy anyway, so it's definitely worth trying. And then if it is challenging for you, either the answer is to start therapy work, or you could also try simply really building up a powerful meditation practice, right? And again, my meditation guide is orlakirby.com/learn to meditate. If you really dedicate yourself to learning meditation and learning hypnosis, and say you did that for 3 months, practicing every day, and then you kind of involve this whole anchoring approach, that could be really powerful. That could really help with shifting away from intrusive thoughts, right? And all of these things work better in combination with the other things. So do definitely watch the whole of this series. If you haven't already, go back and watch the other videos on moving away from intrusive thoughts, because it's all going to work better in combination with everything else. But anchoring is definitely an incredibly powerful technique. I also actually have a whole course on anchoring, a paid course. So I'll put the details of that in the comments. And again, that would be something that I would only recommend you buying really if you either already have a very established meditation practice, or if you are, or after developing one, right? After really spending a good 2-3 months really learning how to use self-hypnosis on meditation. And then anchoring is something you can then add in really powerfully. Okay, so I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.